Hey, huge thanks to today's sponsor, UPDF. More on them in just a bit. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is John Adams. It's always good to see you. Today we have an awesome video for you. It's the 15-inch MacBook Air versus the 16-inch MacBook Pro. These are both great computers, but the question is, which one is right for you? So the first category we're gonna get into is the screen. These both have gorgeous, gorgeous screens. The 15-inch MacBook Pro is 15.3 inches and the 16-inch MacBook Pro is 16 inches. They're both great screens, but one comes out on top. Now the size for both is great. You're not getting all that much more screen real estate if you go with the 16-inch MacBook Pro, but these MacBooks are designed not to be the most portable. That would be the 13-inch MacBook Air. These MacBooks, they are designed for screen real estate. And so if you're somebody who maybe doesn't dock your computer all the time to a monitor, these are the best ones for you. But which of these laptops has the better monitor? The fact of the matter is the 16-inch MacBook Pro has the better monitor. The reason why is it has the Pro Motion display. So that means when you're using this computer, everything looks more smooth. And that might not mean a lot to you. And here's the thing about any display. You get used to it the moment you start using it. But once you experience the Pro Motion display, when you go back to the old ones, you do see it very, very jittery. And so it is just, objectively, it's a nicer screen, it's brighter, it's got the Pro Motion, so the winner on this one is the 16-inch MacBook Pro. Next, we're gonna talk about sound. Now, the 15-inch MacBook Air, it sounds really, really good for what it is. Now, what I found fascinating was there is no speaker grill on it. And so when I saw this computer, when I reviewed it in one of my last videos, I thought this was not going to have all that great of sound, but I was pleasantly surprised. It sounds rich, it sounds full. It's an incredible speaker system for a laptop that is this thin. And so truly, if you're going to get this laptop, you will be so happy, so satisfied with it, it will do you well. But when you look at the 16-inch MacBook Pro, the audio on it sounds so good. When I'm editing my videos, there's a lot of times where I don't even actually put in headphones for it because the speakers on this are just so crystal clear. They've got deep basses, they've got great mids, great highs. It is amazing what Apple has done with their 16-inch MacBook line because it is just another world. I mean, I've used Windows computers, I've used MacBook Airs. It is the best sounding laptop without any competition at all. Have you ever been frustrated when working with PDFs? I definitely have, but thanks to today's sponsor, UPDF, those things are a thing of the past. UPDF is your one-stop solution for all of your PDF needs that lets you view, annotate, edit, sign, organize, and convert your PDFs with just a few simple clicks. Also, one thing that I find so helpful is the ability to search with OCR. Pro tip, I did this all throughout college. Take a picture of the slides, put it in the software, search with OCR, and you can find any of the answers you need. You can also do something that's really helpful, which is merging multiple PDFs into one single document. And it does so much more, but my favorite thing that this does is that it is on all platforms. If you're on macOS, if you're on Android, iOS, iPad, or if you're on Windows, with one single license, you can get UPDF on all of those devices. So you can save your money and you don't need to buy a new license for every single one of those platforms. I've partnered up with UPDF to give you this exclusive 56% off of UPDF Pro offer. You'll get that by clicking the link below. Thank you again to UPDF for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to it. Next, we have what I call practical battery life. Okay, practical battery life is this. You're going to charge these devices probably every day. And so practically, they need to make it through a full day of real world work. And I have some great news for either of these laptops. They both make it through a full day without any problem. I have edited video on both of these machines for hours and hours and only lost a little bit of battery life. And so if you're trying to choose between one of these two laptops or even the 13-inch MacBook Air, if you're trying to choose because of battery life, they are all going to be better than any laptop you've ever used. And it's not going to matter because it will go days without needing to be charged. Now, if you're doing heavy lifting, like heavy video editing, it'll go a day without needing to be charged, but that's really incredible. Like leaving your house for a trip and not needing to bring a charger with you is something that's very special. So you can go on a business trip and know that this thing is not gonna die on you. It is, I mean, what Apple has done with once they came out with the M1 chips and the efficiency of the machines, these are just absolutely crazy. Next, we can talk about the keyboards because one of the main things that you interact with is the keyboard and the trackpad. They feel the exact same, which is wonderful because it is probably my favorite keyboard. I've had the Lenovo ThinkPad, which is kind of like industry known as the best keyboard out there, I still prefer the keyboard on the MacBook Pros. So it's a tie for both of them. Now the next thing we need to talk about is not going to be a tie. It is the ports. On the MacBook Air, you only get 2 ports, a MagSafe and a headphone jack. That is not great. I mean, it's probably good enough for most people. Most people, if they're going to use a MacBook Air, they could always set up a dock or have a monitor that can charge and can have different USBs plugged into it. So they're not going to be missing out on all that much. But for me as a videographer, and this is not everybody's case, I totally get that, having the SD card slot, 3 USB-C ports, the MagSafe, and the headphone jack, this thing can do everything I need it to do, and it doesn't break a sweat, but I can always plug in hard drives and a monitor and have extra room for other things on here. It's a awesome machine. Next, let's talk about the size difference. I mean, the reason that people are going for the MacBook Air is because they want it to be portable. They want to be able to throw it in a backpack, not notice that it's there, get on the move, get to a coffee shop, and work to their heart's content. Now, I will say this is a chunky boy, which is good because when you had MacBooks back from the Johnny Ive era where he made them thinner and lighter and thinner and lighter, they ended up thermal throttling. It just wasn't good. If you want a workhorse laptop, you want it to be thick. You want it to have fans. This doesn't have any fans. This is thin, it's light. It's not made for somebody who's going to be producing movies and all that. This is made for somebody who wants battery life but wants to be able to get up and move from place to place. And so I use this as my daily driver. It's awesome. There are times where I go, goodness gracious, my backpack is getting a little heavy. The MacBook Air, I've had it in my backpack, I've traveled with it, I've used it. I mean, I have used it to edit a lot of video on, and honestly, with my workflow, I could use it as my daily driver. It's light, it feels thin, but it doesn't feel soft and like flexible, it's rigid. Apple did an incredible thing with these MacBook Airs. So if portability is kind of your main concern, which it is for most office workers, that is a huge section of the industry, I would definitely recommend the MacBook Air for that. If you're really needing a chunky workhorse, go for the MacBook Pro. And last but not least, let's get into the price of these two machines because that is going to be probably what makes the decision for most people. Over here in the MacBook Air, it's $1,300 or $1,299. If you get the base model, which is, it still is an incredible laptop. The base model of the 16-inch MacBook Pro is $2,000. Now, here's the thing. You may want to upgrade, if you're getting a base model, you may want to upgrade your RAM and you may want to upgrade to the 512 SSD because 256, it's good, but if you have multiple programs, it's not. Like my wife has 256, she does totally fine. She maybe has like 80 gigs used on it. She does great. For me, I've got Lightroom, Photoshop, I've got DaVinci Resolve, I've got Final Cut, I've got Adobe Audition. That's not enough for me. And so for me, I'd have to upgrade that. So once you upgrade those, you're looking at quite a bit more expensive where you get close to the 14-inch MacBook Pro. But this machine is $2,000 at the base price. Now the great thing is with that $2,000, you do start with these 16 gigs of RAM and you get a 512 SSD. That's huge. I mean, honestly, like I don't know how you could do professional work and not use that. Yes, everybody uses external hard drives when they're doing professional work, but it's still really nice to have some space. And if I have my preference, I go with 2 terabytes because I don't like having external hard drives. And so the price difference on these two, when you do the upgrades that you need to do, it's gonna be vastly different. And if you go with the base model, the difference between $1,299 and $2,000, that's a lot of money. And so I say it like this, the MacBook Air, the 15-inch one specifically, is just kind of the every person's laptop. It's going to be for the person who's going to their office, who's going to school, a person who's going to work, and who wants to also have it for watching Netflix and watching YouTube. It's a great machine. It's so enjoyable. I highly recommend it. The 16-inch MacBook Pro, man, this is for professionals. This is for people who want the kind of highest of the high quality that Apple makes, but also they're gonna have to pay that premium price for it. So you guys tell me down in the comments below, which laptop would you choose for your workflow? I love to hear kind of the different ways that people use these computers. Like this video if you found it helpful. That just tells YouTube that this is a quality video to push out. And go ahead and check out this video right here. I think you're really gonna like it. See you on the next one.